Welcome, everybody, to this special Let's Play for the month of October. I am Drak.
I'm Shadow.
And welcome to the world of Castlevania.
Ooh.
So people might be asking, wait, you're doing more? Is this going to happen more consistently? No. This is specifically for the month of October. We thought it would be a really good idea to bring out a Halloween game, since there are a lot of games kind of based around horror. And I decided to beg Alex to let us do Castlevania because it is a childhood favorite, and I think this series would be especially enjoyable to Alex, since NES is kind of before his time. And we are just starting up, and just to give kind of a reference, since Alex is new to the series, the character we are playing is named Simon Belmont.
I'm aware of Castlevania's backing.
Yes. So, that's who we are, at least in this timeline. Castlevania's weird with timeline.
Yes.
And we're just going through the first part of the game, and I gotta say, back in its 8-bit glory, it is so awesome. I love the music, and I love the actual feel of the game, but I'm more interested in what Alex thinks, because obviously this is his first time with the game.
Right.
Which we'll find out as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're just going through the castle, or at least the first level of it. And as you can see, it's kind of a straightforward game. It's platformer, action game.
Right, typical side-scrolling.
Yeah. And the one thing I would actually point out to you is that is the best out of it is the music, as you can kind of hear right now.
The music kind of reminds me of Donkey Kong a little bit.
A little bit. You mean like Donkey Kong Country?
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll see a lot of like really good musical moments in Castlevania. I would actually say the most memorable thing about the Castlevania series has always been the music, because it always sets the tone. In fact, one of the things I was actually going to do for our Pokemon LP is start digging out Castlevania music, because there were a couple of moments where it'd be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I held off, at least for now. I'll probably dig it out later.
Oh.
Oh, you sound disappointed.
I am.
I'll dig out some of the better scores of Castlevania, and even better, I actually have a lot of remixes to them. So, fan-made remixes of songs. And in fact, if this sounds familiar to you, because you and I have gone to go see video games live, this is actually one of the songs that's in the Castlevania medley they played.
Oh, that was nice.
But like I said, boys and girls, this is basically just for the month of October. If you guys like it, if you guys would like us to do this in a more seasonal tone, I would definitely love to convince Alex to let us do it for every October. But it's up to you guys as well as to him. And now we are to the first boss, the Vampire Bat. This is the boss of confusion for a lot of people. Why? Because a lot of people thought it was Dracula.
Right.
They're actually, like, the angry video game nerd actually said it. He thought the game was over. Because he had been playing Atari for so long. Like, oh, that's Dracula. I just killed Dracula.
Nope, the journey's just begun.
It's just begun. Wait, there's more game? Yeah, this is an Atari. High score isn't where it ends.
Yay!
And we conquered the Vampire Bats and one section of the castle. But we didn't take that long. Yeah, I'm pretty good at Castlevania, so levels will go pretty fast, at least until the later stuff. So, what? More level? Yep, we're gonna go tackle the second level. And I actually, I used to know the trivia inside and out, and I can't remember the actual name of the levels. I think this was Medusa's Halls. That's one of the things that makes Castlevania interesting, in the fact that other elements of horror are mixed in.
Right.
So you have Greek mythology mixed in, and in later games you get like Hebrew mythology, Egyptian mythology. So in this case, Medusa works for Dracula. That's awesome!
Yeah, it's strangely weird.
Strangely weird, but in the justification of why they did it, it makes sense. This is actually not a homage to horror. This is a homage to the Hammer horror films. So basically this is like the way that Konami developers made it is it was supposed to be a homage to the Hammer horror films. So when they look at Dracula, they're looking at Christopher Lee. Or when you see the Mummy, it's Boris Karloff.
Right.
So it makes sense that these would all be united together, because they're all part of the Hammer canon. And if I'm saying that wrong, guys, please let me know.
Right, okay.
The only thing that's new about it is Christopher Lee. Or, sorry, Simon Belmont. And it's actually kind of funny. In one of our previous videos, I think it was Light Saga 01 who brought up, we got into a discussion over who was the most annoying enemy, and I brought up our nice little friends who you've been seeing for the last little few minutes, the Medusa Heads. These are quite possibly the most annoying video game enemy that has ever been devised. Why? Because they are always annoying. Can you see why they're annoying?
I can see why they're annoying.
Because you have to sit there and memorize their actual pattern. And in fact, you've seen the Angry Video Game Nerd Castlevania, right, Alex?
Yes.
So you've seen the whole discussion about a later level in this game. That's how bad these enemies get. And they're the one thing that in all the Castlevania games has never been fixed.
Oh, there's always that something.
The developers love it. It's the one enemy that everybody has to try and figure out. So they never fixed it. And of course we got some knights, which I'm not worried about at all. Because I've got the Morning Star. Or, I guess in this case, the Vampire Killer. Castlevania lore is weird. It wasn't weird when I was a kid, now it's weird.
It all makes sense when you're a child.
Oh yeah, it totally did. I mean, you're just like, it's Simon Belmont, because Simon Belmont's awesome. And of course, it's NES, so I'm having to get used to kind of bad jumping mechanics. Again, I'm like, oh, he's got a very stiff jump. More Medusa Heads. More patterns to remember. Now, you see these points where the doors open and close. That's actually a checkpoint mechanic.
Oh.
This was one of the first games, to my knowledge, that ever introduced a checkpoint.
Wow.
And in some levels, you get 2 or 3.
Oh, instant death.
Instant death from the chandelier, or whatever that's supposed to be. It looks like spikes, but not really. That's okay. I now fix it. And there's the holy water. Now you're noticing that I'm getting some items in the game. Holy water for the first couple of games is probably the most overpowered weapon I've ever seen in a game. It is downright broken. Because once it strikes the ground, it will create a fire that not only will stop your enemy in its tracks, but it will keep hitting it.
Wow.
So, like, for an enemy that takes, like, 10 hits, 1 holy water kills it.
Very nice.
You can see that I'm using it now.
Yes.
It's overpowered. It's awesome.
Looks pretty badass.
Oh, it does. And the only thing that's kind of sad about it is that the Game Boy Advance games kind of took away the overpowered of it, and the axes are kind of the overpowered weapon for their range. And this actually brings me right back to NES, because having this display up at the top where, you know, you see your health and then you see the enemy's health.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's equal to you. No, it's not. Bullcrap. It never is. And we're actually getting ready to end the level because we're coming up to Medusa. And I remember thinking as a kid, this was awesome because in elementary school we were just barely learning Greek mythology. So I'm like, wait, Dracula and Medusa were together? That's awesome! And of course now I'm gonna totally overpower the boss. Yep, it freezes him in place and does a couple of hits to him.
Very nice.
This is actually, you know, like one of the biggest complaints that Die-Hard fans have is that the bosses can go from insanely difficult to really, really easy. I have no problem with this. Because it's strategy, and it all depends on luck. Because if you don't get the holy water, They're not hard. But that's the end of part 1. Come join us next week as for the entire month of October, we tackle the first Castlevania game. We hope you have enjoyed. Once again, I am Drak.
I'm Shadow.
And we'll see you next time for more Castlevania. Mwah-ah-ah-ah-ah.